it's high ABV. You're probably going to see me a little bit tipsy. Hey, how's it going, and welcome to Whiskey Whims with me, Stuart. Something a little different today, and in the following days or weeks perhaps, I'm not sure how I'm going to release it, if I'm going to do it daily or weekly, but what we've got in front of us today is New Make Spirit, and this came from the North East Whisky Association Society run by Carl Glenn. I paid for these and missed the tasting due to work. So this tasting set was called Not for the Feint of Heart, and I think that's what I'm going to stick with and call this series Not for the Feint of Heart, because it ties in with low feints, which is a part of whisky making. Anyway, we probably all know about that. So we've got 12 samples here of New Make. There used to be 13, but I tried one and I really did not like it, so I threw it away. I will let you know what that is, and I'll let you know which each one is before the series gets started. So I've got a little cheat sheet because I don't think I'll remember them all, but number 1 is White Peak, number 2 is Dornoch, number 3 is Linder's Abbey, number 4 is Glenallachie, 5 is Dingle, 6 is Milk and Honey, 7 is the one that I had and could not stomach, it smelled like sweaty feet, and that's Milk and Honey Peated. 8 is Cotswolds, 9 is Golani, or Jolani, I think it's pronounced Golani. It's from Israel, so I'm not sure of the pronunciation. 10's Glenmurray, 11's Waterford, 12's Daffmill, and 13's Glen Scotia. So we're going to just start with 1 and go to 13. I put this out to a couple people, and I was wondering whether or not to do it kind of Scotch versus rest of the world, do 6x6, or just do one for each video. And I think I'm going to do that because there's a lot of whiskey here and it's high ABV. So let's get started. So the first one we have is number 1, which is White Peak. So a little bit about White Peak. They're based in England, based in the Peak District. I believe it's called Ambergate is where they're based. Their whiskey is due to be released in February 2022, and it'll be roughly about 4-year-old, I believe, or just under 4. I think they're going to be releasing about 5,000 bottles, so we'll just get down to this and see what it's like. I'm not sure what the ABV is. Unfortunately for the rest of the whiskies, I don't know what the ABV is either. So, but I reckon they've probably watered it down a little bit. Because a lot of distilleries, once they get the whiskey off the distill, they'll dilute it and then put it into the casks, bring it down from 70% say 75% down to about 65, 67, sometimes 62, or whatever, it can vary. So I'm not sure they would have sent this out at the full strength of 70 to 75, so I reckon it's maybe been watered down a little. But we'll get down to this nose, the taste, and see what this is like, see what this New Make is like. So yeah. So I had the Milk and Honey peated and I really didn't enjoy that. I had that a couple of nights ago and didn't record it. But I had it and it was quite sweaty, like sweaty feet, and I don't know if that was something to do with the peat, but this has got an element of that to it, and maybe like a cheesy what's it smell, but it's not as off-putting as the Milk and Honey one. It's very grassy, the nose is quite prickly, burning nose hairs a little, you can tell it's high ABV, but it's not actually off-putting. I like the cheesy what's it smell. I didn't like the sweaty feet smell, but this cheesy what's it smells quite nice. It smells kind of full, round, if that makes sense. We'll get down to the palate, as I don't think there's much more on the nose. Maybe something like bay leaves or something, or mint leaves. But yeah, we'll get down to the palate. So the palate's quite creamy, and usually I'd expect to get a creamy aspect from the bourbon cask rather than just off the stills. I'm not sure if there's something they can do to influence a creamy aspect in the distillation process, but this is quite creamy. There's a pear flavour, a creamy pear almost. I'm imagining like a gummy sweet, something like a Haribo or something that's got like a white kind of soft spongy layer of I don't know, a creamy flavouring. So a white layer on the bottom, and then on top a kind of a pear, fruity pear tasting sweet. So a combination of cream and pear, which is quite interesting again. I know that a lot of distillation can bring those fruity flavours out, those esters that give you the fruitiness. So that's what I'm getting here. It's definitely a pear tied in with that creaminess, which is quite confusing. But it's very full in the mouth, quite enjoyable, quite pleasant. And I've got to say, although it's an English distillery, I'm actually, based on this, going to probably try and get a sample or a bottle of their first release, because this is rather intriguing. But there's obviously quite a contrast between the new make and the first release, the inaugural release, and other whiskies. As yeah, it's lightly peated or peated. Yeah, this is their foundation, their starting block. But what they do after that with regards to cask, colouring, chill filtration can greatly diversify and change the whiskey. So we'll need to see how they approach it and what they actually release. But I'm hoping if they keep it quite true to this, quite naturally presented, it'll probably be quite a good product. Well, in my mind it will be. This is rather nice. I don't even feel like they need to add water. There's a nutty element to it as well. I don't think I'd be able to particularly pick out a specific nut, but there's a real nuttiness to this. Usually you get that from the wood as well. It's quite mind-boggling. I'm trying not to say it's been influenced by wood at all, because it's obviously not, but there is a nuttiness that I usually expect from kind of a cask influence. But then I suppose Blair Athol Distillery, their distillate gives me nutty flavours all the time, so maybe that is part of the distillation process, and it feels like I'm learning here, so that's pretty good that not all, obviously, flavours come from the cask. They say, I think 80% of the flavour comes from the cask, but there's a lot of flavour in there already. Well, maybe not a lot that I've picked out, but I feel like there's a lot of flavour in there already. So whether that 80%, 20% markup ratio is correct, I don't know. Anyway, I think that's been the video. This has been some sort of video. I'll move on. Whether the next one will be, I think the second one was Dornoch, so whether that'll be released tomorrow or next week, I don't know. I still don't know how I'm going to format this, if it's going to be a daily release or a weekly release. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been something different. It's high ABV. You're probably going to see me a little bit tipsy at some point, because I'm doing these one after the other. So thanks for watching. I've been Stuart, this has been Whisky Whims. I'll see you later.